Tuko riadha, my dear human being. You, the man. You, the woman. You, the human race. Wherever you are, whatever you are doing, running, sitting, cooking, dancing, praying, gazing, rapturing to the universe that deserves a lot of raptures. Because yesterday, on my last episode, I talked about the, um, the deficiency, or what do you call this? The compassion deficit, which is rampant, whether we admit it or not. But from where I sit, from where I am, I think we have that deficit of compassion. How can we fill up the gaps and make sure that the saving account for our compassion lives up to the calling of humanity? That's where I start with JKKC, your friend. And talking of friendship, it's always nice when you speak to people whom you hold high. And not only do you speak to them, but you kind of share where you are, how you're doing. And I had a privilege today of interacting with my conduit. I call him my conveyor's legendary coach that made it possible for me to cross the pond and come to America. I remember vividly how this unfolded back in 1990, December 23rd. I flew in from Nairobi, went to Brussels in Belgium, and I was flying Sabina Airlines. I don't think most of you know what Sabina Airlines is. I think it was before it was swallowed up by other big airlines. From there, I think I spent the night in Brussels in that flying in I think the 22nd of December. Yes, and spent the night in Brussels. I had a conflicting booking that took me from flying to New York, and I flew to Chicago, and from Chicago I flew to New Orleans, and I was received by the greatest human beings that ever made it possible for me to come to America. And with love and gratitude, I salute you, heroes, the coaches that made it possible for me to go to this university in Lafayette. And I've never been the same since then. So, gratitude, love, and support in whatever you're doing. I'm humble when I talk about these people who received me at the airport, because I didn't know them. I had never seen them. I knew they were great people. They had fought for me through that visa process in Nairobi back in the days when I was giving up or kind of just discouraged. I was encouraged. I got a 4-year scholarship, went to this great university of University of Louisiana in Lafayette, back in those days, 91 to 95, the best times of my life. I hope one day I'll stop by. The last time I was there, 2011, for a reunion. We had a good time. I hope to do that again. And I'll do this with this framework of being able to do it. Yeah, I had an opportunity just to chat with one of the, I don't mention names on my YouTube because, if they see it, they know what I'm talking about. I appreciate you as you are. And I think the universe is a better place when you have people who receive you in their homes, in their spaces, and believe that you are going to make a difference to the program and a difference in your life. And for me, it has been mostly in my life, more than even the program that I went to. So yes, I'm forever grateful. Because it's a day I'm trying to inject compassion into the narrative of athletics. Because I think one of the things I've noticed in this compassion conversation is that there's a lot of, we throw things around. I think we say we love this, we don't hate this, so we kind of play safe. But compassion is deeper than that, I think. And so when I say we have compassion deficit, it's not lampooning or bashing. It's to recognize that We don't, sometimes maybe we didn't receive enough compassion, so we don't know what to give. We struggle with giving what we don't have. So maybe that is the discrepancy, and discrepancy has to be acknowledged. Because I think for me, when I look at the year going very passing by so fast, 2024, what has really unlocked my inner core is to understand my mental state, the psychological part of my life, the inner being, because it's easy to talk of physical. It's very easy to see it. People see that, they say, oh, that's Joel, that's Kim Boy, that's Chesame, JKK, see all the names above. But the inner part of me could be misunderstood because it plays big role more than what I project. Because I think for me, I have to confess here that there's a sprinter in America that came of age 2 years ago, American sprinter Shakira Richardson, whom I've equated to be the modern Flo Jo of the 80s. She's flamboyant, she's outspoken, people think she's controversial, she's just herself. And I think when you are in that platform, in that arena of performance where people expect you to do certain things, people can misunderstood. People can misunderstand who you are. And when she spoke, I listened, and so she spoke something that I want to share in this platform and see that we don't know people. I think I don't know Shakira. I've seen her. The last time I checked, I remember that the first thing that people remember her for is the fact that, says she was caught using the illegal drug, the marijuana, which is legal in my state. And they say it kind of gave her advantage. I don't know how that works, how that thing works in the system. I tried it once, and I'm not proud about it. I tried it once, and the story is not to be shared on this platform. My family knows what happened. So I laugh because it wasn't good for me. Some people are stable. Some people walk around normal using it. So yeah, what am I talking about, Shakira? Yeah, she's going through mental evaluation of herself, and she shares these profound things that I want to just maybe let it fly out because I'm reading from what she says that she's really, I think she's speaking from what I've called the feminine bias that the world has on women. I think even growing up in a patriarchal, very conservative world, the view of a woman is just anything but dignifying. I'll say that again. The view of a woman from where I grew up is anything but dignifying. Why do I say that? Because when Shakira Richardson says that women are not even allowed to express themselves in what they wear, what they say, how they look, I think she says, yeah, it's a disservice to the sport of track and field and athletics as a whole. Because I think this idea of containing femininity and trying to purify it and trying to make it just, whatever that is. I think one of the things that really should make everybody sad and stay awake is when the definition of a woman is from a man perspective. That is as controlling and as misplaced as can go. What happened to autonomy? What happened to the fact that this a person, is a complete human being? You can support this entity, but to control the narrative, to control the autonomy, the womanhood, to a point whereby we would try to dictate what they can wear. She says about this idea of, she feels that, this is what she says. I'll quote her what she says. She says that she wants to see diversity appreciated in track and field. She says that, I think, she's the American women says that women should be left to shape their own narrative and be allowed to decide how they dress and look rather than having rules that restrict them, as she believes is destroying and not building the sport. I think I've shared this many times. I don't think she's out of turn. I think she's just a bigger voice than what I've said. I think I spoke about a society that I grew up in where women are told that's where they belong. That if they want to say anything different, they are either they've been murdered, or they've been taken advantage of, or they've been shut down. And I think I've spoken this at a great length. To hear it from her, it really feels to me we are in the same, we are speaking from the same tune. Um, she says that I feel like track and field sometimes does a disservices, especially on women's side, by creating a certain narrative on how track women should look. I feel that that does disservice to some of our women athletes who may not be the biggest names or have the biggest contracts, but they still are people. They are human beings, I emphasize. They still dedicate their lives. They still get out there and show up. So I talked about, in the past, I've talked about Negesa, I've talked about Mary Wamboi from Kenya, I've talked about Caster Semenya, who they've been cast out, pretty much just exiled from sport because they are not pure women. They are women. There could be a biological component that could be different. But this idea there's a pure woman out there. There's a pure look of a woman. Even if you look at their performance, there's no advantage at all. Let's look at their times. If you look at the 800 discipline that I've talked about, if you look at 2016 Olympics, and where the whole thing just went being spewed out there by the Polish woman who said, oh no, these are not women, these are men. To say that in a sport that is trying to claim diversity and different disciplines and making the sport better, I agree with that here. I think the control, the power struggles, the custodians, the gatekeepers of the sport are predominantly men who struggle to see women who are strong and who have a voice. And they feel threatened. They feel that they cannot go there and they see these subjugated, these bowing down women, these women who don't have maybe a stature to speak from. I I I don't buy into this idea of just overriding or vetoing anybody's autonomy. At the end of the day, when I talked about the whole idea of the fact that we have compassion deficit, that's where it stops. That's what I'm talking about. And in sports, the fact that we don't have compassion towards people who are different, who don't come across like looking like me, who have the same capacity, the same voice, the same standing in the society. And we think they don't have a space, that they should be cast aside, marginalized, discriminated against, dehumanized, indignified. This is what I think I agree with the idea wholesale. There's no way I'm going to. I think I like the other thing that she talks about here, that this discriminative approach to sport is bothersome to many of us, because I think I've talked about how this is projected predominantly to the south of the hemisphere, mostly African women, and I wonder how it's not seen as racism. And I think for me, I see it that way, because men on this side of the universe, the only thing we see is steroids. So what does steroid make a man be like? A superman? A feminine? So why is it that we see only women when they move up and they are strong and they look different, they are muscular, they look like Julian, the lady who won 100 meters. They look strong, they look like they've been working out, they are in shape. Men like, oh, that's too muscular, you know. Where is that when it comes to men? Is it when they stick their tongue out, they are kind of arrogant when they do that? Or I don't know, is when they use steroids? Let's go to Ben Johnson. Is that when we see them as criminals? Because where do we go with this story of accepting people as they are? Yes, there's cheating. I agree. There is this manipulation that is induced, that it is it is induced in the system. It's enhanced. That's the word they use, drug enhancing steroids, so to speak. So for women, it's to me what it is almost like a, what do you call it? It speaks to the whole idea of the patriarch thinking. Is that there is this Madonna woman, and this Madonna is the only woman that has to be in this sport. I like what she opens up to say this. She says that, I'm talking of Richardson here. She says that she's gone through an evaluation of her own mental state and accepted herself. Because when you look at her, even for me, I think I had a bias when I watched her perform. She looks like somebody, some of us who grew up in certain societies, we feel, we know what an ideal woman looks like. So when we see something different, we're like, oh, what is that? So I like what she shares here, Richardson, Shakira. She says that I just feel like everything in my life is brighter now. I don't have any darkness weighing me down, even within myself. I'm just at a different point of my life where I'm not in a survival mode. I'm in loving energy mode. You know, why can't we all allow people to be who they are? Is that really a problem? Isn't that what compassion is all about? Isn't that what compassion is all about? Seeing people and meeting them where they are, and accepting them and embracing them who they are. Yes, I applaud her. Shakira Richardson speaks from the same tune as I've been speaking in this channel that I've created here. Humanizing people, edifying people, being graceful, being accepting, knowing that if we really are being honest with ourselves, we are flawed, all of us. But this idea of the tyranny of the righteous, the tyranny of the righteous, the tyranny of this certain crop of people who think they know it all and this is how things should look like. I don't think that's the universe that we live in. The universe we live in is a universe that has compassion deficit and is trying to say we need to recalibrate our oasis of love and reboot it and reclaim what is human, which is us. We are all in this together. And I think for me, athletics speaks to that component. When you think of track, when you think of running, we all start from the same place in a race. That's what we do. We start from the same space. Sometimes there's a drama, there's tripping. There's some people who are just showing their elbows. You can ask Safan Hassan from Holland. You could see her in the marathon just elbowing people around. That is part of the game. It's the flaw of the game. But at the end of the day, there's purity, there's beautiful thing to watch. I think we need to allow each other to come to this playing ground, these lanes. Stay in your lane, so to speak. By the end of the day, just admire even your opponent or your competition, because it is your competition that brings the best out of you. Well, I'll end there. It is the competition that brings the best out of you. Well, I hope as I end this one is a 91 episode, 91st episode of JKKC Tuko Riadha, my friend. I hope you can always continue to save into your compassion account, because we are at a deficit at the moment. And I hope when you talk of Shakira Richardson saying, hey, this is what she says, I'll quote her again. I'm in a loving energy mode. She's seeing herself as whole. I want to see myself as whole, so that when you see yourself as whole, you can share that love. Because from me to you is love, my friend. Talk to you later. And I appreciate people who like, who view, who subscribe, who share, and who talk to me sometimes in certain formats, in any way, because love truly is the winner here. Ciao. Talk to you later on the other side of the pillow.